What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Hope all you're having a great day today. Getting into this episode of GH, I enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed every minute of this episode. Um, Carly, I was feeling her today because usually Carly be getting on my nerves sometimes with her shenanigans. But I really was liking Carly today. I was like, she handled to me, she handled everything just right, as well as she could. Um, my biggest issue with Nina today was when she saw Carly and Sonny getting off that elevator. I'm like, why would you even like? Don't say nothing to them. You know what I mean? Like you should have just left because she know Carly don't want to talk to her. Carly don't want to see her. Carly don't want to talk to her. It's like, why would you walk up to them, approach them, and be like, "Oh, I can give you an update on Sasha and Brando." They don't want to update for Carly don't want to update for you. I ain't gonna speak for Sonny. Sonny wants more than an update from you, so I ain't gonna speak on him. But Carly don't want to talk to that girl. She don't need an update from her. She can go to a doctor and talk to a doctor about that, or better yet, she can go to Sasha and Brando herself and get an update. That's why they're there. And what irritated me with Nina was she tried to tell Sonny and Carly, "Oh, be gentle with Sasha and Brando." Ma'am, I'm like, I'm watching it and I'm just like, man, what do you think they're gonna do to this girl? What do you think they're gonna do to Sasha and Brando? Obviously, they're there to be a support system to them, to be a shoulder for them to lean on. They're there for them. What do you think? What do you mean be gentle with them? Like she made it sound like Carly and Sonny came there for drama. They came there to check on family. That's why they're there. I was like, Nina, just go on somewhere. Go on about your business. Go on. Carly done had enough, and Carly just stormed off. She didn't even want to talk to her no more. Hell, she didn't want to talk to her at all. And it was very telling to me that when Carly stormed off, Sonny stayed to talk to Nina about Sasha and Brando and stuff to get an update about the baby and all that stuff. I'm like, Sonny, you were supposed to turn your ass around and follow your woman. That's what you were supposed to do. But the fact that you stood there talking to her, I'm surprised Carly didn't notice that. I'm like, Carly, you should have turned around and looked at him and reminded him that if he did not follow you, that there will be hell to pay when y'all get home and that he will not be getting no sleep tonight. Like, that's what she should have did. Because ain't no way in the world no spouse is going to sit there, walk away, and the other, the husband or the wife just going to stand there and continue to talk to a motherfucker that you don't like. They supposed to turn their ass around and follow you. And he did not do that. I'm like, Sonny, you tripping. You messing up. You better love the one you with. If you want some peace at home. He better be lucky Carly was too emotional and pissed to even notice the bullshit he just did. I'm like, all the signs have been there in Carly's face that Sonny is playing in her face. Like, that's what he's doing. He's playing. I'm like, sir, tuck tail and turn around. So Carly, of course, was looking for Monica, but Monica ain't at the hospital right now. So she left her a nice voicemail and stuff like that. About Jason and basically telling Monica how important, of course, how much Jason loved Monica and stuff like that. And she actually thanked Monica for Jason. Um, I love that moment when she left that voicemail for her because even though Monica and Carly never got along over the years, Carly was big enough to leave that voicemail for her. And that's why I feel like I like Carly today because it felt like a change, a change of pace with her. Because usually you get nothing but venom from her. So today it was good that she was actually, doing good things today. She wasn't annoying me. Um, and I even liked her exchange with Britt. You know what I mean? When Britt came out and found her there and they were talking and stuff like that. And Carly felt bad because she felt like she couldn't do anything for Sasha and Brando. And when she said that, I felt like, that's a lie. I disagree with Carly on that because I felt like she is doing something for Brando and Sasha. Being there, just when somebody's going through a rough time, people feel helpless. Like, damn, you going through all of this and I got all the money in the world, but my money can't fix your problems, or there's nobody I can call to fix your problems. you are doing something for a person just by being there. You know what I'm saying? You don't even have to say anything. Just being there, holding them, comforting them, just being there to, support them through this. That's doing something for them. You know what I'm saying? Whether Carly looks at it that way or not, she's doing a lot for them. She just doesn't realize it right now. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes that's how you have to look at a situation. It's not all about physically being able to do something for somebody or monetarily being able to do something for somebody. Just you being in the room with them while they're going through this is you doing something for them. You know what I'm saying? You got to see it that way. So Carly has to realize that you are doing something for them. You're there. You know what I'm saying? You're checking up on them. You're seeing if they're okay. You're offering your help, whatever they need to make them more comfortable, to make this process a little easier for them. That's doing something for them. You know what I'm saying? Because not many people have anybody that they can even lean on when they're in tough times. Just even vent to or whatever. So her being there, it does a lot. Um, and I'm glad that, her and Britt are in this place now where their relationship now is not combative. You know what I'm saying? They're actually being there for each other and leaning on each other. You know what I'm saying? And it always bothered me over the years that Carly didn't have a lot of friends. And and I've always noticed that throughout the years. Like, I was like, damn, Carly ain't got a lot of female friends. Like, her and Olivia are friends and stuff like that. And I was shocked that they was even hanging out not too long ago at the Savoy. That was a change for Carly, because Carly don't hang out with nobody like that. Unless your name is Sonny or Jason, she don't hang out with you. You know what I'm saying? So I always felt like Carly needed to separate herself from the men folk. You know what I'm saying? Actually get her some good girlfriends. And I think her, Britt, and Olivia can actually do that. It's about time she has some girlfriends, instead of always being around, her husband or Jason. And, I would like that for Carly. I always wanted that for her. But, sometimes it's her attitude that prevents that shit. So she need to, reel that in. Um, so, Sonny and Carly went to go check in on Brando and Sasha because they heard from Britt that the baby was being taken for some more tests or surgery or EEG, whatever they call it. Um, so right now, basically, it's a wait and see. Keep praying for the kid. To see if he's gonna be all right and come out of this. And I love the conversation between Brando and Sonny. Where Brando was asking Sonny, like, how does he do it? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you, do this? Like, worrying about your kids all the time. And Sonny told him, he was like, listen, he just thinks about the good things with his kids, like Donna, her smile, Avery, her laughing, and even though, like he said, Michael, Christina, and Dante are grown, he still worries about them. It doesn't matter how old your kids get. You're always going to worry. You're always going to worry. Every day that they're out of your sight, they're out of your house, you're going to worry about them, no matter how old they are. You could be 80 years old. They could be 60. You're still going to worry about your kids. You know what I'm saying? They're still your kids at the end of the day, no matter how old they are. So I love that conversation between them. And, he put it that way. He was like, listen, Jocelyn ain't biologically my daughter, but he was like, she's my daughter. You know what I'm saying? Blood don't mean shit. And I love that. And I noticed that that's a pattern on the show lately, that a lot of relationships are intact and they're not even blood relationships. You know what I'm saying? But they still see you as family. And I agree with that. Blood doesn't always make you family, you know? Um, and I love how Sonny was saying, teenage girls, like having teenage daughters is, that's stress. It makes you worry. Um, and I agree, because y'all remember when Christina was a teenager, she put Sonny through the ringer. Her attitudes, her trying to date Ethan, even though he was years older than her. Um, her pretending to sleep around with Johnny Zakara. Christina tested Sonny. She tested him like no other. like no other teenage girl could test their father. That girl put him through the ringer as a teenager. So it was funny how Sonny could laugh at that, now. You know what I mean? Because he damn sure wasn't laughing 10 years ago when it was going down. But, I love that conversation between him and Brando. Um, and how he can give him some advice and stuff. And Carly was definitely nice with Sasha, just being there for her and holding her hand through all this. And Sasha really appreciated it, because Sasha obviously doesn't have anybody like that in her corner. So it's good that she has somebody like Carly and Sonny and all that to come there and be, sit with them and stuff and be a shoulder for them to lean on through this. I love it. I think all the actors did a great job in that scene. They do a great job every day, but that particular scene, they knocked it out the damn park. Um, so moving on from that, I enjoyed the scenes with Austin and Peter. I really did, because Peter, he was his usual ass self, little douche. But I like how Austin gave it back to him. Like Austin, it was funny how he was putting them that needle sticking him and all that stuff in his arm. Peter was like, I thought doctors were supposed to do no harm. Yeah, well, you got the right doctor. Um, and Peter was asking him all these questions and stuff because he recognized Austin's name. And he was like, oh, you're the doctor who, delivered our daughter or whatever. So he was asking him questions trying to figure out if Austin knew where Louise was. And Austin told him straight up. He was like, even if I knew, I wouldn't tell your ass. I love that little game that they were playing with each other. And the jealousy in Peter was hilarious because Austin was defending Maxie to no end, being very protective of her. And Peter took notice of that. He was like, what the hell are you to Maxie? Trying to find out if they messing around or dating or whatever. And he was like, no, I'm just a friend. And Peter was like, yeah, keep it that way. I'm like, Peter, shut your little jealous ass up because you're about to go to prison for a very long time. And that's what stuck out to me too. And I'm glad Austin mentioned it when he saw Britt. He mentioned that. He noticed that Peter was, he was talking like a man who was going to get his family back. And he was talking like a man who wasn't about to go to prison for a life sentence. And that worried Austin. And I agree, because that did stick out to me too. Because I'm like, if you're looking at life in prison, why are you talking like you ain't about to go to jail? And Austin felt like Peter had an ace up his sleeve. He probably do. Most villains do. Most villains have an ace up their sleeve. And I think Peter does too. I don't think he's going to prison. So, of course, Peter bumped into Nina when she was trying to get on the elevator or whatever. He cornered her, basically, taunting her, trying to, play mind games with her, talking about, oh, he's surprised Carly didn't run her out of town yet. And just as he was saying all that, Carly popped up around that corner behind him, listening in. Because he knows that Carly doesn't know about Nina and Sonny's relationship in Nixon Falls. So you already know Peter's about to spill all the tea about that. Because Peter ain't got nothing to lose at this point, and he don't give a damn about Nina. And he's going to use this just to stick it to her. And, of course, get at Carly, too. I was like, Peter a little jackass. He really is. So anyway, moving on from that. I love the scenes with Valentine and stuff. It was a sad scene when he was holding Bailey, aka Louise. I'm glad that they had a cordial meeting, him and BLQ and stuff like that, and Chase. I wouldn't trust Valentine because in that moment he claimed that he regret getting Chase suspended. So I'm like, if you regret it, why don't you go talk to Mac and see if you could reverse that? You know what I mean? But I wouldn't trust Valentine because that look in his eye, though, still said that he was mad and he wanted some type of revenge. I wouldn't trust him. But his scenes with Bailey was sweet, though. Those were some nice scenes. How he was saying goodbye to her and that they weren't going to see each other for a while. I felt bad for Valentine. I really did. And the way he broke down in Anna's arms, like on her shoulder and stuff like that when they left the mansion, I felt bad for him. Because you don't see Valentine vulnerable like that all the time. So I really felt bad. And I enjoyed the scenes with Maxie and Drew. I definitely agree with people. I think that they're trying to do a chem test between Drew and Maxie. I definitely think they are. I think they were trying to do a chemistry test with Maxie and Austin as well. Trying to see who they could pair her up with eventually. I wouldn't mind her and Drew at some point. Or her and Austin maybe. I wouldn't even mind Austin and Britt. They all got potential, I feel. Or maybe Britt and Drew. Or you never know. I love them scenes though between her and Drew. Drew was not sweating the whole Dante Sam thing because he did feel like Maxie was trying to protect his feelings by saying, "Oh, Dante and Sam didn't just happen overnight. It was a slow process." Drew wasn't, he wasn't upset about it because, shit, why should he be? Him and Sam were over a long time ago. You know what I mean? So he's not tripping about her and Dante, and I'm glad that he's not. But after Maxie saw Valentine saying goodbye to Bailey/Louise, she, I guess, built up her courage, because at that point she was telling Drew how she was trying to not be scared of Peter, and I think in that moment she built up her nerve to not be afraid of him, because she basically was saying to herself, this shit with Peter gotta stop. So there's no telling what she about to do, because when she stormed out the mansion, I'm guessing she's going to confront Peter, is what I'm guessing. She's going to do whatever she has to do, because she hates seeing people separated from the person they love. You know what I mean? I think she's at that point now where she's tired of being separated from her daughter, because she's worried about Peter. She's on the warpath now. She has to do something to stop this foolishness. And I'm curious to see what she's going to do to stop it. Like, is she going to confront Peter? Is she going to tell him everything? What is she going to do? But I'm interested in seeing it. But anyway, that was pretty much the whole episode. Hit the comment section. Let me know what you guys thought about it, and I will see you on Monday. I cannot wait for Monday because Laura is back. I cannot wait to see her and Martin. But yeah, I hope you all have a great night. Hope you have a great weekend. I'll see you all later. Peace.